meditation. But I think that for me, it's been a long journey to develop into an individual that has a relative good control over her emotions. Because, like I said, when I was a kid, I was super sensitive and I would have these uncontrollable breakdowns and I would try not to, but I simply could not. Like, the emotion I would experience most was just sadness, like very in deep sadness and anger, but not really like typical anger. Probably a little less than typical anger. I didn't tend to get very angry, but sadness was the big thing. And yeah, it's been a journey to, I guess, take ownership of that. And I feel really good that I can take ownership of that. And I guess it's not even necessarily just that I have complete control, but learning how to become less sensitive, or how, I don't know if less sensitive is the word, but how to make things affect me less and to take things less personally. And I know that you mentioned you're a big fan of meditation. I don't know if you said it within the podcast or within a side conversation. And yeah, that was something I definitely used to do when I was younger. And it really helped calm my mind and calm myself. And I think it's a very useful tool.
Yeah, I think that actually might begin to answer the question that I was going to ask you. Because I think meditation has helped me a lot too. And like, as I kind of like educate myself more from like, certain spiritual kind of teachings and stuff, um, I also kind of have this belief where I believe like attachment is the source of all misery and like detachment is the source of all joy. And like like when I say that I've become less sensitive, I think it's not that I can't be as sensitive as I used to be. I think I'm just much, much better at like detaching from things that aren't helpful for me. I don't ruminate as much and I'm not just like, going over and over again in my head about certain things that really just will make me upset or depressed if I think about it too much. And I think meditation has been kind of one thing that has really been helping me with that, particularly like just detaching from the world around you and kind of like going into your own mental space or wherever you really want to go and then just kind of like, not thinking about anything for a little bit and having that practice of just detaching regularly is helpful for me. So I think I could be as sensitive as I used to be, because obviously like I'm the same person and it's not like I've changed in any way, but I think I've been getting better at detaching. And I think it's actually gotten to the point where it's kind of like, too much. Like it kind of scares me a little bit and I kind of like want to be more attached to things. But because I now have the ability to kind of detach from everything and it's like I don't know, maybe a little bit of that is good and maybe I'm going too far with it. I don't really know. But the question I was going to ask you was, what were there any things specific that you remember that you can point to that have kind of helped you on your own journey from being like very, very sensitive as a kid and like breaking down and to who you are now where you kind of have thicker skin and like things that other people say don't get to you as much and you can deal with that without really feeling too affected by it. Are there any things that
Hmm.
you can point to or remember specifically that kind of have helped you get to this point?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. And one thing I mentioned first are the values that we first discussed in the beginning. And I think that dedicating myself to school and then to hobbies and then to challenging myself gave me a confidence within myself. And so when people say certain, I can brush things off because I know that simply because someone says something to me, it doesn't mean it's true. And so that works very well for, say, negative criticism. Not to say that I simply dismiss it, but
Hmm.
I'll think about it, I'll reflect, and I'll decide whether or not I want to accept it. And that also goes to positive things. I would say I like compliments, but I'm not, too affected by them because I think that I have a rather a decent understanding of myself and my capabilities. Not, maybe not 100%, but I think I understand myself. But for me, I think one of the biggest, I guess, values I could have mentioned, I don't know if it's necessarily a value, but a way in viewing myself is that I don't know. I know that I have friends, I guess in family, or I have people that care about me and value me. But overall, I don't know. I just don't matter. I am like an insignificant person. I go throughout life. I live my life. But overall, right? If I were to die tomorrow, okay, people would be sad. Some people would be really sad, right? But overall, the world would go on. And so that was one thing that really helped me. Like I don't take a lot of things personally because I will admit I'm kind of awkward. And when I was a kid, okay, me being awkward made me even more awkward because I'm just like, shoot, Micah, why are you so awkward? Like, stop doing this. And anyway, well, I won't roast myself, so I'll stop there. But now, like, I'm awkward and I recognize that people might think I'm weird, but okay, I don't really care. It's like, if I'm weird, I'm weird. It literally doesn't
Hmm.
matter. And so I think that's been
Hmm.
easy. Moving to a new city directly after college and then moving to another city. And then overall, I think, like I said, I definitely feel quite isolated oftentimes. But for me, I experience that emotion and I validate that emotion. But also, life moves on. And the good thing is that I can try something new. I can change the way I feel. There are plenty of other ways that I can live life. But overall, I'm kind of straying from your initial question of how I guess that I develop a thicker skin. But I think it's a combination of those values that were mentioned and also not taking myself very seriously and just, enjoying. I don't like to be mad. I just like to be okay. I mean, I would prefer to feel joyful, which on a